Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Elle, aka the Melanin Expat. So today I'm going to be sharing some of the common mistakes that us expats make when living in Germany. So the first mistake that I think many of us expats make in Germany is not having cash. And I wouldn't even just say expats, I would say Germans today, because my boyfriend is equally as guilty and bad at it as I am. But anyway, not having cash in Germany is a big mistake. Like literally almost every establishment prefers cash over card, and almost every establishment will accept cash instead of card. So you just have to be prepared to always have cash on you in places where you wouldn't necessarily think that you should have cash on you, have cash on you. So this could be like a restaurant, you could be on public transport trying to buy a ticket, you could be in a taxi, you could be going to a boutique, going into a ticketed event. Always have cash on you, because more times than none they're not going to accept card. It's a mistake that I've made so many times and I'm still making to this day, because I literally went out to eat with my girlfriend like last week and we went to this restaurant. It was huge. I assumed 100% this restaurant would accept card. We finished our food. We both assumed that it was going to be card payment. I also assumed that she would probably have cash as well, because she's that friend that always has cash. And they didn't accept card, and I had to run out to a card machine while she sat there. Everyone was completely fine, no one looked at us, but still it's just embarrassing, especially if you're the person waiting in the restaurant, waiting in the cafe for the other person to come back. Equally, I've been in situations where I've gone to a boutique, I've picked up loads of little bits, got to the till, asked to check out, and they've told me cash only, and I've had to go put everything back down. So that is a horrible situation to be in. Avoid it by just carrying some cash. Always have that emergency fund. I say this and I don't follow this advice, so yeah. Another mistake you should not make whilst living in Germany is saying happy birthday to Germans before their birthday. So they take this very seriously. Germans are very superstitious people, and you can see that in loads of little traditions that they have, or loads of little nichey things that they do. So like even cheersing a cup and looking the other person in the eye because they believe it leads to like 8 years or 10 years of bad sex if you don't. It's so funny, but people do it. Same thing with saying happy birthday before it's someone's birthday. Germans just don't do it because it is bad luck, and they again are very superstitious. So I learned this the hard way. I was working in a company where most of my colleagues were predominantly German, and it was a colleague's birthday on a Sunday and it was a Friday, and we were all saying like goodbye for the weekend. And I remembered it was the colleague's birthday, and I was like, oh my gosh, have a lovely birthday, like happy birthday in advance, hope you have a bomb ass time. And she was just like, and everyone looked at me and I was like, what is all these daggers I'm getting? And one of the girls came up to me and was like, no, we don't wish people happy birthday before their birthday. It's just bad luck. Don't do it. And I was like, waiting for the pin to drop, because I genuinely thought it was a joke. And I learned it wasn't a joke. My boyfriend also takes it very seriously. I don't get it, but just don't do it. So yeah. Another mistake I think us expats make when living here in Germany is the translation. So if you're an English speaker and English is your first language and then you're learning German, you notice very early on that a lot of the words have very literal translations, and that really helps with learning the language. But it can also be very misleading and put you in some tight or embarrassing or uncomfortable situations because you've misunderstood a word or a context of something, you've misunderstood a meaning, you've answered incorrectly. It can really lead to some bigger mess ups. So do not overlook the literal translations into words and think that it means that every word is a literal translation, because that's not the case most of the time. You're just lucky with certain words. So maybe just to give you guys an example, a really literal translation in German is Kühlschrank. So if anyone doesn't know what Kühlschrank is, it's a fridge, Kühlschrank. And basically when you translate the word and break it down itself, so Kühl means cool, so it's almost the same in English. And then Schrank means cupboard, so it's like cool cupboard, Kühlschrank, and it's a fridge. I basically did this literal translation thing throughout my first year of learning German, and I was literally thinking I knew so many words because I was like, it basically means this is what this word is, this is what this word is. And what I did, I went on with that mindset and I took myself to an appointment, and it's a little bit TMI, but I took myself to a gynecologist appointment, and it was just a checkup. I filled out a form and gave it back to the receptionist, and she was like, okay, can you go sit down? And before I went to sit down, she asked me a quick question. She was like, hey, can I just ask you a question? And this was all in German, by the way. And she was like, are you a Jungfrau? And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard this word, but the translation is young Frau, because Jung in German is young in English as well, and Frau in German is woman in English. So young woman. So I was like, why is she asking me if I'm a young woman? But then I was like, maybe I didn't fill out what sex I was or what gender I was. Maybe it's just a question they have to ask. But I was like, yeah, I'm a young Frau. And then she was like, okay, but you're a young Frau. And I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, why did she ask me that twice? But I was like, whatever. Still didn't understand the question. Didn't think to Google it because I was like, it's a literal translation, young Frau. It's so easy. Sat down. Then the doctor came to get me for my appointment and met me like in between the waiting room, and like we kind of walked past the reception, and the receptionist one more time was like, hey, sorry, Entschuldigung, just a quick question, but are you a Jungfrau? And I was like, yeah, I'm a Jungfrau. And I'm thinking, why has she asked me this so many times now? And then the doctor looked at her, looked at me, and was like, you know, Jungfrau means virgin. And I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not a virgin. And I was very confused for a minute, and then I was like, it makes sense why she asked me that multiple times. They have to know certain details about their like patients, but like also makes sense, but also doesn't, because it's really opposite from the translation. It has nothing to do with the translation. And I learned never again to just assume that you know what a word is or what it translates to just because you know some of the breakdowns. And yeah, another mistake I think expats make here in Germany is ordering things that are not on the menu. So I am very guilty of this. Sometimes I'll go to a place and they won't have what I want on the menu because I'm really craving something so specific. And I will assume based on the other things that they have that they can make what I'm asking for. I have learned time and time again to stop doing this. I am still guilty of this, but I need to stop because it's so freaking annoying. But do not order stuff that is not on the menu for a reason, because Germans, I feel, are very good at trying to offer like hospitality and customer service to a degree. So they will make it for you, even if it's nothing like what you want or tastes nothing like what you want or looks nothing like what you want. They will make it for you, and you'll be kind of in a position where you don't have a choice but to pay and accept it. So don't do it, because there's a reason why it's not on the menu. They're not used to making it. They might not have the ingredients to make it. They might not have the equipment to make it. So just don't do it. And again, I am still so guilty of this. I did it like not long ago. I was on the Autobahn, on the motorway, and we stopped at a McDonald's. And basically I asked them for an iced coffee, and I don't know if the McDonald's are actually quite different, because I think it does vary McDonald's to McDonald's what they actually offer. But for some reason iced coffee was not a thing in this McDonald's, which I completely don't understand, because I know there are other McDonald's that offer like frappuccinos and all of that. Anyways, they were like, okay, iced coffee. And I said it all in German, by the way. So I was like, yeah. And my boyfriend was there, and he even repeated what I said because he thought maybe there was an accent or something, like they couldn't understand my accent. And they were like, ice, coffee, cold coffee. And I was like, yeah. Had to repeat it multiple times, but we were like, okay, surely they're gonna just, you know, get some cold coffee, put some ice cubes in and call it a day. That's all I wanted, nothing extra. They came back out with this one cup, and it was like, she was holding it weird. And she was like, yeah, the ice cubes melted, but here's an iced coffee. And I was just like, they did not pour warm coffee into ice cubes and thought that was iced coffee. Surely they would have just told me if they didn't have cold coffee or if they couldn't make iced coffee. And they had literally done that. They'd literally poured warm coffee into some ice cubes, and it was like just lukewarm coffee. And I was so confused. And I appreciated the effort, but I wish they had just told me that they don't know what I'm talking about, that they didn't have cold coffee to make it, or just refused me. And I learned, actually I didn't learn, because I still make this mistake till date. I still order stuff that's not on the menu and I'm always disappointed. But I'm trying to learn that I need to stop doing that. And it's a mistake I think that a lot of expats will make, because maybe in your home country as well, it's super easy just to throw things together, or you assume like throw things that are not on the menu together, and it's possible. And if it wasn't possible in your country, they would tell you, but they don't do it here. So I just think avoid buying stuff that is not on the menu if you can. Another mistake that I think us expats make here in Germany is definitely the whole Lidl Aldi situation. So from one, when you go into Lidl and Aldi not using a shopping cart, that's a big no-no, at least in my Aldi or Lidl. I can't remember which one it is next door to me, but I have an Aldi or a Lidl. It's a big no-no not to have a shopping cart. They will literally come up to you and say, hey, can you do your shopping with a shopping cart? Even if you want to grab a few items, I always say no, because I'm like, I know what I want, I know what I need. But it's a big no-no, and it's definitely a mistake that many of us expats make. I make it knowingly, you can make it consciously, I don't know. Another mistake I think that us expats make with the whole Aldi Lidl situation is the shopping or the cashing out at the end situation. So in England, when you do your grocery shopping and you push all your items through the till and everything, or they scan it all through the till, they always give you time to pack your items, and then they would ask you, once you're done packing your items, how you would like to pay. In Germany, it's a no-no. It's a, they just scan, and I'm not exaggerating at the scanning. Like sometimes they start scanning before you're even at the end of the till. Like someone else has just finished paying and they've already scanned like 4 items and you've got a little like pile of stuff. And the whole idea behind it is that they do not expect you to package your items away there. They expect you to chuck all your items into a trolley and then go stand away somewhere else and bag it all up. And this is something that I have so much conflict with. It's definitely a mistake that I make, but it's a mistake that I consciously make because it is too stressful for me. I don't like that. I feel like we've been queuing. I feel like I'm a paying customer like everyone else, but still like a paying customer. And if I choose to bag my items at the end of the till, that's how I do it. I just can't get over it. But definitely a mistake that us expats make is trying to bag our items at the end of the till, struggling, and then the cashier telling us to just leave and to go do that somewhere else. So if you want to avoid any stress, any conflict, just chuck it all in the trolley, go bag elsewhere. But if you're like me and you can't get over this thing, then just know that you're going to probably come into a bit of conflict, a little bit of resistance, and be told to go bag that somewhere else. But definitely a mistake I consciously make. I'm sure many expats are still making to this day. It's part of life. It's one that I can't get with, but yeah. Okay guys, so that was just a quick run through of some of the mistakes us foreigners make whilst living here in Germany. Some of them I make them consciously to date, but some of them I've grown from, I've learned from. I'm not making them anymore. They're done and dusted with, especially the cash one. I'm gonna start doing bi-weekly trips to the bank. I think I need to start doing this more regularly and make it part of my habit, more of my routine. But anyways, those were just some of the mistakes that us foreigners make whilst living here in Germany. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!